I use these copies as a law to deal with Dividian. So here is a copy of each. I am doing like John Wesley. John Wesley said, I will put that Bible in the hands of every Englishman. He's telling the Pope, the priest, that the common man on the street will know more of God than you.
Okay. Amen.
Every member in the church is supposed to know more about a shepherd than a shepherd.
Amen. Amen. Remember.
In the future, when you're dealing with a shepherd rod, now shepherd rods, in closing, when you're dealing with a shepherd rods come in different forms. Watch me. Many years ago, I'm an Adventist. I now became an Adventist. But you know I was a Pentecostal before. But I just couldn't buy into the speaking in tongues. And then personally I found out about the Sabbath apart from that by reading. Then I went and asked the pastors about the Sabbath. And they just tell me that abolished, that abolished. They didn't study with me. But when they tell me it is abolished, I know what I read. So I go back again. It was re-emphasized in my mind I was supposed to keep the Sabbath. Eventually, I decided that probably the Sabbath is wrong. Probably a Sunday you should keep. So a day, it is the Sabbath day. Instead of going to an Adventist church or somewhere, I go, my mother used to live in another place than me. I went to visit my mother. I spent half day in the morning with her. By about 12 o'clock, I pack up myself and leave to go home where I was living. And as I'm walking, there's a tamarind tree where I used to pass. A tamarind tree there, hundreds of years. There's an old tamarind tree, tall and high. I have to pass right by there to reach home. So as I'm walking there and I look, there's a sign way up in the tamarind tree, painted. At that time I was shocked, because I asked myself, if a person wanted to put a sign for you, they wouldn't climb way up in the tamarind tree and put it quite up there, just come it right at the level where you can see it.
Okay.
But when I looked up, there was a sign written, the seventh day is the Sabbath day. Remember the Sabbath day. And I stopped shocked so. The lunchtime.
Oh yeah, you already see that.
Yeah. What was about this day? What was white, painted and it was black.
Ooh, so you can see it.
So I stopped so. A terrible horror rushed over me as I froze so during the midday. And I tail it and run.
And get back
I
in the
used to
Sabbath
live at
study.
home by myself at that time. I run home by myself. You know what I'm telling myself? I'm done with this transgression. Take out the Bible and that's something even I kept this Sabbath. Never to turn away until even today.
Amen. Yeah, this trial. Amen.
Eventually, I was invited to an Adventist crusade. I was invited to an Adventist crusade. The man who invited me was an Adventist all years and never told me. I grew up knowing him, but never knowing that he was an Adventist. So many of Adventists are, eh?
Yeah. That's a common thing, brother.
Woo. So, when he invited me, I was shocked. I find the man was kind of smiley, but I never knew he was a religious person. So I went. Eventually I got baptized. As I got baptized, the pastors found that this young baptized person standing out among all the others. Because after baptism, each person who got baptized had to do something before the church. But here I am coming from the world, and I bring somebody with me into the faith. First convert is when I get converted. So I told the guy, I said, here's what people do. I will write a play. And in the play, I will play pastor, you will play Holy Ghost. I wrote the play. We practiced it a couple of times. And then when we went up there, about 900 people there in this big tent in the savannah, more than 900. And we had this play. And when I speak, all of a sudden, never knowing this before, light began to flash on my mind. And when I speak, I never hear that tent say amen when the pastor was preaching. Little did I know there were Dividians in the audience. They marked me out, they said he wanted. So I would come in from church service, and there would be some fellas coming and walk with me with my innocent mind who don't know A from B, and tell me, we have these black books. At that time I didn't know it was the testimonies to the church, but it was the testimony. And these books and them attack the Adventist church and show the Adventist church is wrong in what they're doing. Excuse me? Yes! It was slaughtering the coming Adventist church. I didn't even know who they were. But in my ever curious mind, I decided to find out what they are saying. I read what they are saying. I researched what they are saying. Never having read an Ellen G. White book before. Then I went home where I sit by myself and sit down and start to wrestle and think. And God showed me they were wrong. So I came back now, and they come and join to me. And they start opening these books again and showing me. And I would defeat them with your own books. So they call for higher forces. Another one who know the religion more than them, a scholar and a brain with his glasses and a big bag full of books. They come up by me, you know? And that time when I used to be living, part of the place I used to be living in, my father lived in the other part. And they would see these fellas in these black jackets and these bags full of black books coming up. And I wonder what's going on over there. And I would remember, I know they're wrong, but there are much things I have to show them and I just don't know. So I remember, I pray and I say, Lord, help me to put this to rest once and for all to deal with them. So, they come up, sit down around my table, chairs, and a whole set of them there, with a whole set of testimonies to the church, testimonies to the timely greetings, and so on, a whole set of chaperone things. And Paul was Medina alone with one little Bible he had, and not another book. And they start to speak. And I listen. All of a sudden my mind gets alive. As they speak, I begin to see from their very words where they are going off. And I would stop them and I would show them. And then they try again, I would stop them and I would show them. And then in the end, when we finish, it was a stalemate. I said, would you leave the book and lend it to me? They lend me testimony volume 5. And I said, come back in a week time. And they lend me testimony volume 5. And I take it and I painstakingly read once, twice, 3 times. While everything flashed, what Mrs. White identified to the church at that time, and what she identified to the church now. And boy, the time they come back there, Dividian put on book and started taking notes when I started studying with them. Oh, you know, they fall back shocked. Real shock. And they start to take notes and so on. Now beginning to understand the spirit of prophecy. But remember, I now did it, yeah?
Yes.
So here's what happened. After that happened, they all dropped me.
See?
They dropped me. Then another set again come back this time. And they come more sophisticated. And they say, up in Gonzales there, we have a gym up there. And in this gym, on certain nights in the sun, come man, come nights. It's okay, I'll come nights. I'm here in my mind, I'm going to mash it up. I jump in my bicycle, ride on for me, I'm living, ride down to Portsmouth, ride up, down, go up a hill, go down, go up a hill, go down. But I was sweaty and tired and tired, I was riding, go in the gym. And night after night we had it all of them fellas get defeated. So, 9 months later in my conversion, no more Dividians troubled me. They leave me, they were all defeated. So, the Adventist Church was having a conference in Queen's Hall, a Sabbath. I used to go to Laventille Church down there. So, the elder say, you seem to be the person who really know the truth here. You will represent the church in this conference. And the other elders of their church will represent, but the first elder say, I put in aside, you represented me instead. So we had the conference. And we come out and we spoke. I spoke about righteousness by faith, without knowing much. I spoke about the latter rain. I spoke about preparing for the season. People love it. But there was another Dividian there spying me out. He come down and he said, brother. Okay, give me a hand over. Brother, well spoken. I noticed you talk about righteousness by faith. Let's study righteousness by faith. So now Dividian coming at me with righteousness by faith. And brother, we had it all over a few months. With righteousness by faith. And let me tell you what happened. In the end, I speak to this Dividian and I show him they didn't know righteousness by faith. By the way, he didn't show me this. But that's how they come to me with righteousness by faith now. But he didn't show me this. He didn't know anything. Eventually he get defeated over and over and over. His name was Wayne White. After I show Mr. White all these truths, Mr. White, see what I said. At first, give up the teaching. Hear what I said? At first, he give up the Dividian teaching. And then come to me to learn. Then he stopped. Then he withdraw back. Went to Grenada, but we meet some shepherd rods there. I think I know who he is. Come back and write a 6-page letter rebuking me. Now look at the letter. Shall I write him back? Shall I answer back 6 pages or not? I put it down. Next few weeks a year, Mr. White sit up at his table with his Bible and shepherd rod books, get a heart attack and die right here.
See? I lost.
After that, no more shepherd. Shepherd rod warned the members against me. They warned, they say, he is against shepherd rod. Loudly saying he's a Dividian. They say, I'm against Dividian. So they warned. Years passed.